Welcome to Tuesday night on behalf of First Amendment Sports. I'm Ken Meringolo. He's Kevin Ricca.
Nice to see you guys. Happy Tuesday to you, Ken. I've been seeing a lot of you lately, to be fair.
Thank God it's Tuesday, third straight day on the sticks with this guy. Hopefully some people had a chance to check out the WCAC tournament this past weekend. Congratulations to Paul VI and the Politics Boys, Bishop McNamara girls, for all you Mustang fans out there. Awesome weekend of high school basketball. The best news of all is Tim Strachan joined us on Championship Monday. He was in the building, sat next to us, did his thing for 2 games. So he's getting a well-deserved rest this evening. Just talked to him a few minutes ago, so he's good. You might see him on the board. J-Dubs, Greg Martin, EO, Rhett. I got a message from them.
Cheers.
Ken Harris, especially Ken Harris, was at a very, way more of an impact on my last 2 days than I thought. I mean, I love seeing him. I love having him around. But this was physical.
Well,
he played a physical game this weekend.
Let's just say this: we spent 10 hours at American University Gymnasium calling 4 games. He stopped by an old school traditional deli in Northeast Washington D.C., hole in the wall out of the way. Only a few would know about it to get us an Italian.
Oof.
And then came with the fried fish sandwich the next day.
Yeah, fried fish on championship night.
Wow, is it spectacular. And wow, did it have a full-fledged impact on us for a little while.
Luckily for us, we know how to pay to play. We've been paying to play for quite some time. And that's really...
We're here on a Tuesday after that, back-to-back days.
Exactly.
Which is great.
Creamy biceps in. Peter D'Antonio out for the week. He was joining us. He joined us for the games on Tuesday. You will be seeing him again. We had
to get him in for a draft show.
Yeah, we're going to do some draft stuff coming up, and that's his wheelhouse. So cheers to you, Pete. I know you're also hanging out with us tonight, and all of the Peter fan club. I mean, I don't know if we can get him, if we can be so bold as to hope they join us 2 weeks in a row, but we'll see. Skins, Commanders, football team news. We actually have some. I mean, we're a couple weeks away from free agency. There's big topics that we're already talking about on the board. Jonathan Allen. I want to just hold off on Jonathan Allen just for a second.
Sure.
I want to get into a groove before we talk about Jonathan Allen.
Do whatever you got to do, brother.
Which makes me think tush push is more of a logical first segment.
I think you should groove that one by yourself. I could get off shot for a minute, but you let me know.
Mark Murphy, former Washington Super Bowl winning Redskin.
Is he on the board?
Mark Murphy's on the board. He's watching.
Hell yes.
But he was
he doesn't like it anymore.
He doesn't like it. Yeah. I don't think he's liked it for a while, but he doesn't like it. There's so many angles to this whole issue. I mean, there's so many angles to it. And Mark Murphy, the Packers have been at the center of this exact rule since the beginning of the modern era of football. In the Ice Bowl, when Bart Starr famously didn't get pushed because the running back was doing this. So the Packers have been involved in this aspect of football since the very beginning. So it's fitting that they be the one to file the challenge to the rule of quarterback pushing or pushing the ball, the ball runner, ball carrier.
Well, a former Redskin and defensive player in this league also.
Yeah.
He's got some perspective. And I kind of dug how he referenced that Louvu jump. He was like, they almost just gave a free touchdown away because of this dumbass play. So I agree with him, but I don't know if I would say ban it. I'm not like
you can't ban.
I'm not a ban guy, but yeah, the push is weird.
If you pushing players,
yeah,
so there was always a rule you can't push players from behind, and it was always a well known. And it's like cornerbacks picking wide receivers picking cornerbacks, or different kinds of like gray area type stuff that. As long as the wide receiver is running this way, he can basically pick a corner. There's been ways around getting help to the guy who's got the ball, and so finally the NFL said we can't really legislate this, so it's gone. And the Eagles were first to the table with the best version of how to exploit the rule, and that's been clear and obvious. So that sucks.
Well, yeah, but I do like how Greg thinks we should just shame them into it. But he wants you to call it the butt play. And
the butt play.
Be like, stop touching his butt. Look at you guys doing
it's
all
that
that.
patented butt play.
Yep. Them cheeks.
I don't know how I don't think they're like impervious to shame.
I
Up
know,
there.
I know, but you got to get it all throughout media, like
Okay.
when they're calling the play, like.
Well, that's how. I mean,
And the
obviously,
Eagles are rubbing on them sweet ass cheeks again. Look at them go. I think that might cause a little
might
trouble.
cause a little
I think it
rambunctious.
could. I mean, I'm fine with it, obviously, because I somehow just said it after 3 sips of whiskey. What you put in here, dude?
I don't know. There's no peanut butter whiskey in there. I promise you that. The the so I will. You can't ban the play because that's stupid and there's nothing, but you can ban not being able to push from behind. That'll change things around again. And the coolest thing is that then puts us at the center of the decision. I think that ultimately will come down because I don't think the referees want to legislate that, and or the league, I should say. But
You mean you and I are the final say in this?
we're gonna have the final say.
Holy.
The whole the idea that when we were trying to stop it on the goal line in a situation where I mean it was a specific situation on the goal line, you can only give up, a penalty costs you an inch, so you have zero incentive not to try to
Yeah.
time the snap and go after it, and they would, so we're going to give you an automatic score, and so the automatic nature of the play with the automatic, the referee saying, hey, we're just going to give them the touchdown, and us keeping going. I think the league watched Luvu do that, and I think they all kind of decided, yeah, I get it. Maybe we need to do something about this.
If he wasn't raised properly and he would have just led with the helmet, the play would be over by now. You know what I mean? He didn't want to hurt a fellow guy. You saw him when he hit the eject button. He came down. He tried to clobber him with his arm across the shoulder pad. But if he just came over and speared the living ass out of anyone, and there was any type of injury, I mean, that's a good way to get rid of it. Also,
Yep.
I mean,
Which is, by the way, going to happen.
Yeah.
There's plenty of I mean, that's what the term dirty player means. There's always going to be a guy who doesn't give an F and goes after guys. I mean, we see it all. They can find tons. They Devontae's perfect. These guys with an edge who don't care. I wish I knew the name of the linebacker who was suspended this year for basically being a dirty player.
Yeah.
So someone's going to do it. I mean, just like the slide rules, the quarterbacks are going to get helmet to helmeted at a consistent rate because there's no way around it.
No. I mean, right now we're talking about spearing guys. We're talking about like
helmet to helmet.
Push those jiggly cheeks on in there, Eagles go. Like, we have so many strategies, right? Did you like that one any better than the first one? Or yeah, it's getting weird. But if you read Greg Martin's, he's really inspiring the weirdness tonight. Not gonna lie. And
the muff push.
I have no problem with it. It's if you read it all the way through.
Irish whips him forward. He's the WWE guy. He's a wrestling guy. He just watches wrestling.
I can't get this thought out of my head.
The quarterback Irish whipping the running back around.
Hold on. Is this what we need?
Or
to
like
do?
a backwards walkover? I don't know. So there's also Eagles are so hateable. We obviously hate them because they're Philadelphia, but now they're super hateable on a broader sense, and that's always good. There's not a ton. I mean, Nick Sirianni is not likable. The city's fans don't care that nobody likes him, and
they wear it as a badge of honor.
Exactly. That's their deal, and so it's kind of like, all right. So the public sentiment, like nobody's like no one's gonna die on the hill of defending the Eagles and the tush push with the butt play.
Butt play.
No one's going to fight. No one's going to fight for Philadelphia. So it'll be interesting to see if this gets any traction. I think 51% chance they don't let you push people in the back anymore.
No, that'd be good.
Yeah. We'll
what about this? Round ass bottoms. What do you think? There's gonna be like a belt.
You can only touch
equator.
The guys that they'll say like
how about above? Maybe you can only push above the waist.
How about you can only push on the ass? You can't even go. If you're gonna do it,
there's so many women and men, for that matter, in Philadelphia that are gonna be eager and willing to do this to Jalen Hurts.
How much NDAs and consent forms on a weekly basis? But if you're gonna do it, do it. I say do it. So, anyways.
The Irish muff whip is going to be a tough one to get out of my head.
Muff whip.
I've got so many quarterbacks being muff whipped into the open field right now. I think we could run a little shovel pass off of it also, as long as no one gets dizzy.
By the way, not for nothing, Jalen Hurts missed way more time than anyone thought that he was going to miss for concussion. Now, maybe they had the ability to give him that time. I think he was concussed, and and he he runs. He gets his body pushed by
Yeah,
700 pounds
he was.
of eagle straight ahead into people like Luvu coming at him. I mean, that's a recipe for concussions.
He looked way healthier in the Super Bowl than he had at any given moment
Yeah.
since his return after the injury. So
It was like a Tom Brady scenario when he kind of missed the end of the season, or he didn't have to play. He missed the beginning. He was suspended, and he didn't have to play the full year. And, he had Jalen Hurts and those guys. They don't need that kind of tread. All right, so let's talk. Anything else league wise you have in your thoughts today?
I like any other
Yeah.
thoughts about the rest of the league?
Yeah,
No, I'm not. I
rest of
haven't
the
been
league.
thinking about them at all. Really focusing on this, getting fired up for Thursday, obviously, in 2 weeks from today, free agency and all this. But today was neat. It was neat to see our guy talk. It was neat to see Adam Peters just converse. The guy is just, he is so smooth and kind. His kindness tricks everyone. I think he's an assassin, off duty assassin.
Of course.
Who general manages on the side. But I mean, just the way he answers and how cool he is. And how about the shout out to start the presser with Martin Mayhew? Do him right. Get that Redskin on out of here. Look, he said we don't have last year without him. That was a neat gesture, I thought. Super cool, while at the same time treating John Allen the proper way a veteran deserves to be treated, and probably wasn't the majority of his time here, but will leave here without a bad taste in his mouth because they're going to cooperate with Blake Baratz, who he also shouted out and said is one hell of an agent. So he's just out there not just kissing babies, he's kissing foreheads.
It's a different strategy than we've been used to.
He really is super classy, and I love the way he verbalized all of that, and then really didn't answer much. But he answered the easy questions, like, yeah, we will be active in free agency because we have to fill a roster. We have 28
somewhere
free agents.
between 70 and 105 $1 million.
Nothing that he said. There's one thing he said that really got me too.
How many Martys do we have left?
None.
We're out of Martys?
No, the Martin is done.
Martys are gone. Okay, go ahead.
But no, just listening to him talk, obviously, seeing him talk was neat. But he didn't say anything of value that we need to sit here and dissect. Although his answer when they asked him about the edge rusher, did you see that one? He said, I wanted the guy to be 6'5". He said it super quick. 6'5", 36-inch arms, 1.3 second 10-yard split. That relentless and physical get off. You have to have speed and power in this league. I just love hearing him say those things because then...
In size.
6'5", 36-inch arms, length, 1.3 second 10-yard split. That right there, that's the starting point.
So wait, when Bruce Allen told you, and Vinny Serrato back in the day, when they said, hey, we're looking for one thing, that they were the captain of their high school team.
We want captains.
We want captains. If they were Pee-wees. Pee-wee captains. We don't care what kind of captains. Yeah. We want captains. Anyways, the math works. And the cool thing is that dude, the guy that fits those metrics will be available in the bottom of the first round. He'll have a chance to decide to pick up that guy because there's 6'4" to 6'6" edge rushers. I mean, there's the whole first round can't be edge rushers and a defensive lineman. Yeah. One of those guys is going to fall to us. So what else?
That's really it. Okay. I just thought it was really cool how he's such a positive guy, class act. That's all. I liked that there was a lot of talk today about the most exciting offseason we've had since forever. So
it's gonna be fun. The last year we watched him work. We had a lot of money last year too. Draft resources, and they put together a team that was over 50% different than the previous season. And no one was watching. I mean, we were watching what he was doing, and we were hoping that it was all going to work out, and it felt good, and it looked good, early. But now, but we weren't coming off of NFC Championship appearance. We weren't coming off of a year in which our rookie quarterback was objectively in the MVP conversation. If we're talking about 7-8 guys midway through the year,
and he wasn't even in the building till late April. I mean, for God's sake, this is a crucial time. Now he's getting a little rest right now, but he's going to get almost a damn near 2-month head start. So, although he was working anyways, but specific system, that's pretty neat.
And you get to decide when your last offseason, there's very few luxury. I mean, you're trying to get talent, you're trying to fill holes with the best way you can, and you're hoping a lot of stuff works. But I mean, 27 new guys. I mean, you never know. So now the difference is being a little bit more aggressive, maybe affording yourself a luxury selection that's the difference between week 20 and week 21 in this league.
Well, also what we do know is he said he's going to do his best to bring back as many of these guys that
Mhm.
had great seasons this year, and he specifically referenced that, which is awesome because it's obvious. But I don't like seeing all these numbers jacked up. And Ertz is now
Ooh.
going to cost us 10 million, and Wagner's
I
going
don't
to be
think
9
so.
10. I don't either.
I think
36-year-old dudes that run a 5.2 aren't getting paid 10 million. So
I think the average annual value expectation for Zach Ertz is more like 5.5 million. Now, does that mean someone would offer him more? No. But I think the cool thing about guys like Zach Ertz is like we're gonna really see how powerful the gravity is around Jaden Daniels. Like how hard is it to leave this offense, this team, and what just happened? Zach Ertz has
that's going to
obviously.
be the only. That's going to be
Oh,
the only thing.
hey, he's
But in years past, there's many reasons. To
yeah.
leave.
People have turned down more money to come here at times. I mean, obviously we got the mercenary pirate dudes who came here for Dan Snyder's money, and that's a different story. But there, people could have got their money from us and they didn't. I don't think Zach. I think like guys like Zach Ertz, Dante Fowler, Marcus Mariota. These guys, they're going to get calls, and they're going to
Yeah.
get calls to play at market value. There's no hometown discount scenario. But Zach Ertz, he he's I'm not his financial advisor, or I don't know any of his, but he's got to be doing okay. He's got to be. There's probably some conversation of, do I take $7 million because I want $7 million, or do I take 5.5 to play for Cliff Kingsbury and with Jaden Daniels? I don't know the answer to that, but we haven't had a player that caused Zach Ertz to ask himself that question with an actual chance for the answer to be
Right.
shit. I'm not going. Why would I go anywhere? This
Or
was a
Bobby
great
Wagner
ticket
for that matter.
or Bobby
Same
Wagner,
thing
or
on the other
Marcus
side.
Mariota.
Yeah.
Especially Marcus Mariota.
Who's a guy who I do think wants to be here, and I don't
Mhm.
think he thinks you'll be a starter. Why not be a big time backup on a big time program and get the chance to
Greatest
be that
job
guy? I
ever.
think so. And he's gone through the hell of it all. So I wouldn't be
Yep.
shocked about him. I wouldn't be shocked about him coming back here for a little less than anywhere else. To be fair, too.
I completely agree. And you know what? We can give him like we can take some lower, like that lesser discount, and guarantee it for like 3 years. I mean, doesn't
Yeah.
a guy like him? We're never going to ask him to do more than finish a game in garbage time, or spot start. So because if Jaden Daniels goes down, everything's out the window anyway. So
If he can still hold his own in the run game, we know how crafty he is at getting open. He's not open; he just gets open. He's a vet that way. But if he still can get down and dirty, and he showed that he could a little bit last year, because that's the next step.
you don't want Zach Ertz?
Yes, I know we were the third best rushing team in the NFL, but that's a Jaden Daniels based scenario across the board. I would like to get way more production in the run game. We talked about last week stopping the run, stop the run, stop the run. Well, let's run it a little bit.
Yep.
So that's another reason. I'm not saying let's get into that. I'm saying that's where
No,
Zach Ertz is the double-edged sword.
Zach Ertz was a huge factor. He had a productive regular season, and then he stepped his game up in the postseason.
Of course.
That's the name of that's.
Well,
that's
everyone
the,
sees those numbers across the
Yeah.
country and says, "Oh, he obviously is going to make this, and that." Obviously, that's what you do because everyone's on the numbers game. But you got to watch him run. You got to watch him labor through the season. How much is he paying these massagers? Like for that guy to get through it? I'm not no Tucker. I'm talking about
They're
legitimately
concerned, by the way.
getting.
That's the quote today. These allegations, according to the Ravens, after a week and a half of letting that really sink in, they've decided that these allegations are, quote, concerning. That's what they said.
Oh, well.
So they're concerned. Zach Ertz is a free agent at the age of 34, 35, 30 what?
36.
36.
I don't know.
Juwan Johnson at the age of 28 is probably the highest ranked free agent coming off the New Orleans Saints. He had like 50 catches for 460 yards or whatever. Not as good of a season as Zach Ertz just had from a production standpoint, but the Saints were a non-factor. And even when Derek Carr was in there. So anyways, he's 28 years old, and I think he'll be the high-priced, big-ticket free agent tight end. Then you have Tyler Conklin. You have Mike Gesicki. There's a couple guys who are probably going to be willing to move around before Zach Ertz is. That's kind of what I think tamps down that free agent tight end market for Zach Ertz. Because there's a few guys who are. There's another guy too. I can't remember his name, but Bobby Wagner, like linebackers in need. Let's just talk about that real fast. We talk about needs this offseason. In addition to having just not enough dudes to fill a roster for starters, but we talk about wide receiver, linebacker, tight end, safety, defensive end, offensive tackle.
Well, it's offensive line.
Sure, that's
line.
fine. Okay.
Line. Obviously, we don't need a center for a couple years.
Yep.
But for the specific fact that Cosme's out and Coleman can play any of the other spots. So, and today I saw Logan Paul talking about it. Drafting whoever best available lineman because you can put Coleman inside or outside and because of the versatility. I thought it was a very good point. Him and John Keim. I never watch anyone else's stuff, especially before we do a show, but John Keim's a good old guy.
He is.
I like watching him. But that was a neat point that he made today about the versatility at line. And also, he specifically called out 2 spots that he said we need to improve at. And these are his buddies. These are his friends. And he said, listen, I dig Allegretti. I want Allegretti to be around next year because Cosme's not going to be right away. And that's a great contract to have. He's been a swing guy his whole career. He's a guy that can play left, right, no matter what. We're going to need him to play the right and come back. But let's get a big dog guard. Let's get a real deal guard. And
Trey Smith is right there.
He specifically said, look, Wiley's given us what Wiley's given us. And he's been fine. But let's always remember that that's another spot that can be upgraded.
Right tackle?
Right tackle.
Well, yeah, because also
right tackle really, and guard.
If you think about it,
Logan Paul said, you know what I meant? It's been a long week.
Logan Paul.
Is Logan Paul? I know nothing. I am not a YouTuber or a political guy. I didn't know which one I said wrong. But that was the YouTuber that fought Tyson.
Logan Paul's the fighter, yeah.
He's such a douche. I didn't mean to say that.
It is. So John Keim makes a good point, if that's the point he's making, that you can draft or sign the best guy you can go after, whether he's a guard or a tackle, and Brandon Coleman can plug. I mean, Brandon Coleman can play right tackle. Brandon Coleman can play right guard. Brandon Coleman can play left guard.
We need a veteran and a rookie.
So Trey Smith is going to cost dollars, but he's 25 years old. He's considered one of the better interior offensive linemen in the league. That's a way you could spend your money. I think it's a wise investment, and that would be that's the kind of signing. And I don't think we're rumored, by the way, to be in the running for Trey Smith for whatever reason, even though we clearly have a need. But that's the kind of signing that I think would fire up the heart of the Redskins Commanders fan base, because like we understand like an investment in the offensive line is a double investment in Jaden Daniels.
And he also, another quote today by our guy Adam Peters, he was asked about specifically our left tackle. He said it was one of the highlights of the season. He thought he competed and played tremendously well, and they're thrilled and very excited about him. So I'm not saying we need to replace him at left tackle.
No.
I'm just saying let's see how it all comes around. Because remember last year everyone was freaking out when we were signing we started signing receivers and we didn't have any linemen left. Well, we're not even starting. Let the offseason unfold.
We knew. We said Brandon Coleman. We said they were going to feed us a steady diet of Brandon Coleman from the beginning, and they did, and it worked.
And let's let this season unfold, because let's give AP a little leash, because we all know what he did. So
because if you sign Trey Smith, because we say that Brandon Coleman could move to right tackle, left guard, or right tackle, he could also stay at left tackle, and you could bring in, you know what I mean?
Specifically.
So,
we all know how an NFL season unfolds. Let's go. That's why we're going to draft. We're always going to sign versatile guys like that. That's going to be part of our gig. That's understood in this new NFL. Ask the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, I went through last week and did as many teams that the top 5 paid offensive linemen on the roster and how much money that was. We were 21st last year.
Yep. I bet you we were lower than that the year before, probably 25th or 6th.
Had to have been. But sub 25 mil for our top 5 guys last year. So we're averaging about 5 across the board there. Highest paid offensive starting 5. The Rams at 57 and the Kansas City Chiefs at 56. That's a shit ton of money if we're at 24-9. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to go bonkers, but I think we can go get a guy. I think we're going to go get a veteran guy, a starter.
So the obviously the 2 names, the top of the list, Ronnie Stanley and Trey Smith. Both of those guys would obviously plug and play and start immediately for us. They would be better than what we have, and they would meaningfully address what is a clear need, which is our offensive line simply has to be better. All these guys that played well this season, That's a. I mean, it has to be better, and we're already down one of our better linemen that we've had the last couple seasons
Yep.
in Cosme. So you have to sign somebody,
You have to.
and the money.
We got to run this ball, man.
You have the money. So we had so many guys on 1 year deals and 2 year deals. This past season, and we keep coming back with this cash to respend. I mean, you never regret paying market value to starting offensive linemen. Like you know what I mean. Like you'll never regret that because that's how the game of football does not work without those guys. And if you have a guy who's worth the money, and right now, this salary cap increase worries me on specifically Trey Smith. Not so much Ronnie Stanley because he's older. He's like 5 or 6 years older. But we have the money.
Well, we'll work out for us on other ends.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fluid money we're talking about. Don't get too worried. Don't get too worried, Ken.
Well, so we
I
have.
know you specifically want him.
We have the extra money too,
worry.
but
Right.
you figure if everyone gets an extra $20 million, I mean that's obviously that's a top notch average annual value for a lot of positions.
It is.
So but it's also for us. It could be like 2 or 3 1-year dudes that at the 50, 51, and 52 on our roster that we couldn't win without.
Let me just say about offensive line specifically here. Let me tell you some of these team names that played less than we did, which tells you exactly how the NFL feels about offensive line at this time. You got to draft them as many as you effing can, and that hurts us with not a lot of draft picks this year in spots where we can draft starters because we have other needs as well. But Buffalo, $22 million. We're at 24.9. Buffalo at 22. Cincinnati 21.8. Pittsburgh 21. Green Bay 21. Seattle 18. Tampa Bay 17.7.
Seattle paid their offensive line $18 million. That's it.
Yes, I know. All those teams I just said, dude, it's bonkers.
How much did Chicago pay their offensive line?
12.8. They're the last. They're 32nd.
That's
the
tough. Saddest thing I ever heard.
That's tough. There are so many individuals that made more than Chicago, Dallas, Arizona, Tampa Bay, Seattle, Green Bay. I mean, the disparity goes from 12.8 in Chicago to 57 with the Rams.
Yeah. So we're right in the middle.
56 with Kansas City. So it tells you exactly what the position's valued. But
that's why
these guys here got to pay their guys.
Yep.
Pay your guys. Now, we don't have that luxury. Our guys, our new front office didn't show up with our guys to pay at this spot. So we're kind of screwed here. So what I'm saying is what you want. What you're saying is the reality of our situation.
But the teams that are consistently winning and drafting in the bottom, like 7 to 10 picks of the draft every year, like you mentioned some of them there, but the Buffaloes, the Baltimores, even Cincinnati, even though they didn't have a good one this past year, obviously Kansas City, they pay their offensive line more than anyone else. And then you can't keep all of them, right? So they're successful at the bottom of the first round. They're starting offensive linemen there, and those are the kind of you get through the first round of watching, and you don't even think about like, oh, who did the Baltimore Ravens pick in the first round? And it ends up being like a right tackle from Oklahoma who plays for 8 years for them. You know what I mean? So
and they keep stacking dudes like that,
and that's where we are right now. We're drafting in the bottom of the first round. We have the option of, I do believe it's an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman in that spot. And it will be impacted by what we do in free agency, in a few weeks.
1,000,000,000%. And if we're going to keep talking about the offensive line and that spot right there, we're not the type of, I don't think, to jump up and take a running back. And the big conversation all week long is B-Rob. I love B-Rob. But let's be honest, and I'm going to say it. Eckler's back on a second-year deal. His role, he's perfect for it.
Yep.
We have him coming back on a cheap deal. That's fantastic.
And he's a starting running back.
Yeah, and he is. But he's going to get knocked around. So you can't. He's not a workhorse.
That's fine. That's why. That's the beauty of having Brian Robinson.
His talent is starting level, and we're not going to lose Brian Robinson. But I don't know that we don't draft somebody that's got some.
The second
we
round,
need some speed, brother. We need some speed at that position. And I love B-Rob, and I love him, and I love him. I really do. He's tough as nails. Bro's got 20 touchdowns over 3 years. I mean, he almost 3,000 yards from scrimmage, but his longest run ever is 40 yards, and we were all shocked when he did it.
Against the Giants?
Oh, yes. I would love to see, I would really love to see us get some juice at that spot in the draft. And that's going to be later.
Well, I think a second round will be a reach for these guys, but there's a couple guys that are available. Scatterboo.
Scatterboo I love, but I don't know. He's not the speed guy.
He's a third rounder.
He's the Rigo. He's a bit of a B Robish kind of guy.
I think he's a third round guy that if you really want him, you're gonna have to take him in the second round. But so I think if
I love Scatterboo. I just don't know.
If the first couple weeks of free agency net us the offensive lineman or the defensive lineman that we need the impact addition that then takes our first round pick the other way. Because we're either gonna the first round pick and the big bucks I think are going to be used to meaningfully address the line of scrimmage, and so then in the second round, I won't use the word. It's not a luxury pick. Because you're still picking a guy who you think is going to impact your team
starter
right away.
Starter.
And I think that could be with Eckler and Brian Robinson, it's probably not a running back for us.
But Brian Robinson's going to a final year, and I don't see him back.
I don't either.
I don't know if he's the future.
It's Eckler's final year too.
I know. If we're trying to get through the year, we need somebody to come in next year that's got a little. And Dylan Sampson, the fastest cat, is going to. If he's sitting there in the second round, he'd be a pretty neat addition. Maybe more of a toy. But I don't mean for himself. He's a 3 down, every down badass who can fly. I just went through all the 40 times. And I was like, give me the fastest one. I want to read about that guy.
What's Scatterboo's 40?
It's like a 4.5. Listen. He is obviously fast enough to play in this league, but that's not what I'm saying.
He's not a speedster.
Like, how many times have we seen gash plays with fast ass running backs flying through our defense? I want to see us doing that, and that's all. That's all my. Listen, these are my wish lists. I'm not sitting here constructing a goddamn.
There were multiple opportunities. There were multiple runs this year when one of our running backs hit a hole, and if it was one of those other guys, the Devin A-Chain from Miami, for example, that they take it to the house. Eckler didn't. B-Rob didn't. Big Nick.
Eckler gets a little more. B-Rob gets the least out of every effing screen possible. And it's a good play and it looks good. And we're all like, hey, 17 yards. Everyone else is getting third. Like that's a hit play. Not a 13-yard first down on 3rd and 6. That's a field flip type scenario. If it's anyone like that you're talking about. So it is. If Dylan Sampson, who hasn't been a great pass catcher, but he's athletic enough to do whatever we need him to. And if he catches those same little loft touches from Jaden Daniels placed perfectly that B-Rob has been taking 13 yards in a cloud of dust in the screen game, he is not a cloud of dust anywhere. It's a cloud of dust behind everyone while he is dancing. So
one of the biggest values, obviously, for Brian Robinson is that he is still on that rookie contract. So we get a starting caliber running back on his rookie contract for another year. And it does buy us time. Because then, however you shape this draft, however Adam Peters attacks it, he knows in the 2026 draft he can replace Brian Robinson's rookie contract with another running back rookie contract if that's what he wanted to do.
And he will.
And if you look at the way that our running game should work around Jaden Daniels, there's a lot of running yards available.
And we got to save some monies.
Yeah,
at that spot.
Yep.
I mean, we do. I mean, that's just a spot that we need to because everyone else is, and we got so many needs. By the way, I'm not saying that's a more necessary need than elsewhere. We're highlighting our needs.
Yes.
These needs that we're highlighting might be more than the available roster spots that we have.
And I had wide receiver.
It's early in the offseason. Let's just get it out there.
I had wide receiver above running back in terms of offensive skill position need.
I respectfully disagree because I think if we jack up that running back and that obviously the offensive line helps both positions, but if we get a running back, a real deal threat, a touchdown guy. I think this dude had 22 touchdowns in his senior year last year, and he scored in the first 12 that he played. That changes everything for me, and I think Jaden Daniels can get by with the same guys we had last year, who are free agents. But I'm saying if we just bring a few guys back instead of the big, I do not think we're getting a big toy at receiver.
I'm not suggesting. I'm actually all I'm suggesting is possibly that second round, that second round pick. That could be a wide receiver because I want if I had my way, it would be it would be Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, De'Ami Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus, and the best
Luke
McCaffrey. Yeah, that'd be our 5, and then we would go out and get a 6th, and then and without busting, not breaking the bank for Garrett Wilson, not going after T. Higgins, not going after Cooper Kupp. But I think that becomes
Now Chase is done too, so
and that
from what we hear.
I would say I would love to see. People just blew me away with that Noah Brown pickup. It was such a badass move. I would love to see if there's a guy that he likes in the second round, a wide receiver that can come in and do what he wants them to do. I would love to see him hit a home run on a second round wide receiver.
Where I would prefer the speedster running back
Yeah.
if we're drafting a toy.
Yeah.
If we're drafting a fun and
Well, I
games
think that guy. If you're drafting a second round
by,
wide receiver,
by toy, I mean a necessary guy, not a third down toy. A necessary.
did you give me this?
I did not. I gave you two or more.
I'm sticking with the girl I brought to the stands. I understand what you're saying. I don't.
Oh, no, and I understand what you're saying as well. And by the way, I'm not going to be mad if we get a badass receiver and say, I wish we could have. I don't know, but the last few weeks watching the playoffs, and I know how important the passing game is in this new NFL, but in the playoffs, things tend to take on a different, what they tend to take on a different. What do they tend to take
flavor?
On? That's
Attitude.
I mean, it's better than what I had.
That is a little bit different flavor. Aunt Pam, what's going on? J Dubs. I think I saw Ken Harris. I don't know if I saw Ken Harris or not. I think he's hiding from us. Oh, and he has Tecmo. He came on there. All right, so let's talk about it. We haven't. We've been moving our, and I like this, because I think, how about this? Before we touched on the defensive line, touched on the offensive line, touched on tight end, touched on wide receiver and running back.
We ain't been touching on no tight ends.
It was
not since the beginning of the show.
It was consensual.
It's Jalen has been getting
so interestingly, I didn't put cornerback here because I don't. I think we have to have it. We have to bring in some cornerbacks. I don't know what level they're going to be, but
we have lots of needs.
We're bringing them in.
Yeah.
But safety is interesting to me. Obviously, Jeremy Chin, a free agent. I think they are interested in bringing him back. I would assume that they are. And
he's going to garner some serious attention, which he's earned.
And safety is one of those positions that traditionally, or at least in the last 20 years, 15 years, unless your name's Adam Archuleta, you're just not getting, you're not breaking the bank on a free agent contract.
Remember those white pants?
Oh, God. I do remember those white pants. So, and I don't think Jeremy Chin is looking to be the highest paid football player. I still can't believe we gave Adam Archuleta all that money. But anyways, the safety position is the spot where, I like Charvarius Ward, the cornerback, before I like any safety free agents.
Yeah, we're not. Safety's not a spot that you have to free agent. I don't feel like.
No.
Safety.
Oh, unless it's your own.
And we got guys. We got Reeves coming back. We got some depth there. That is not a massive, but
Chin's spot.
Chin would be a blow, but also having to pay him market when someone comes calling.
See
he's gonna have the decision to make. We're gonna offer what we're gonna offer, and I don't think we're gonna get into a bidding war because that's not what we need to do at that spot. It's not an end all be all. I love the guy, but I don't think he's an end all be all because of this spot. If he's gonna break the bank, but
this is where
he's really only had 2 good years out of his first 5.
I know this is where when does his market materialize during free agency? So between the start of free agency and the draft, there's always these, phases of free agency. Obviously, the big boys who mostly have their money ready to go, they come in and they go. And then you have kind of some picking and choosing after that. They're more like mid-level, dudes. And then of course there's post June 1st and all on those kinds of things. But for I don't see the free agent safety market ever being a big deal this offseason.
Also, it's a very turbulent market because it's scheme specific.
Yeah.
How we got our hands on Jeremy Chin is because down in Carolina, they switched that defense and he went from an everyday starter to a guy that didn't really have a spot. He didn't fit into their scheme. That's how we accumulated this dude in the first place. He sat idle with an injury with 2 years left on his contract, then sat on the bench last year, had frustrated as shit in a defense that he didn't fit into. And they were trying to squeeze fit their new young guys in the transition. So that's how we got that dude in the first place. And our guy, AP, is super talented at scouring franchises for that. That's what we got Chin in here. And with our culture, and that's the place people want to be, that's going to make us super attractive. So once again, multiple reasons not to just feel the need to get into a bidding war for Chin, but he would be a tremendous welcome back addition.
So initially, my thought was Adam Peters writes the number on a piece of paper, puts it in his pocket. Jeremy Chin goes out and finds his best deal he can get, and then he tells it to Adam Peters. Adam Peters looks at his piece of paper. If it's,
I don't think it's gonna be on a piece of paper.
It might be on a piece of paper.
I don't think it's gonna be on a piece of
paper. Maybe.
Good thought, though. Let's
maybe
go. I hate to interrupt. Let's pretend it's on a piece of paper.
Let's just pretend for a moment. He's looking at a piece of paper with a number on it, and he says, "All right, I was going to pay you this, and if it's better than that, he'll give it. But he's not going to like bid. He's not going to go higher than that number that's on the piece of paper."
Is he going to draw like a?
I thought about it a lot.
Check yes or no. Will you go with me for 8.3?
I mean, I think that he actually is a super high priority guy.
He was awesome for us.
He was active in the turnover game for us, which is like such a huge deal. He could have had a couple more. He could have had a couple more.
He wasn't inactive in the turnover game, but he was as active in the turnover game as you know what? Let's just keep it moving forward.
So my thought about us at safety is if you have to pay top 5 safety numbers to Jeremy Chin, I understand why you don't do that. I understand,
right, of course,
but I do think that the thought process going into the free agency is that like Jeremy Chin is like, you don't want to be any worse than Jeremy Chin at safety next year for us. Like, if you think, like, I've seen safeties mocked to us, like the Noman Weary, or what, I can't even pronounce his name, but anyways, like a 6'4", 220-pound beast safety, the guys that are coming in the league now. Okay, fine. If that's what you're going to do, then you don't have to be aggressive about Jeremy Chin. But I just don't think our defense can afford to get worse than Jeremy Chin at safety.
No,
you know what I mean?
I don't think we will.
Okay, that to me, that's important. Like, we can't be going to Plan B at safety in week 1. Need I say the words Reed Dowdy? You know what I mean? Like, our Plan B has been our safety plan for so much of my fandom, and we're talking about Mark Murphy, we're talking about Martin Mayhew, we're talking about we've had some guys,
and all I want to talk about is stopping the run.
And Jeremy Chin helps in that.
He does, but a lot of safeties can help in the run. It's in the passing side of the game that safeties make their bones. Because if you can't stop the run as a safety in this league, you don't play in this league, and they're separated by their pass coverage.
Sue Cravens, LaRon Landry.
God, we got some like all of them should be like bodybuilding competitors and just cannot get anywhere near off the hash too deep to cover a fade in a million years. Stuck in mud.
We've had some. I mean, and the worst part about so many of those guys is they were starters in week 1. Like, I understand if you find yourself in week 11 and you're going with Reed Dowdy because that's all you got left, but we can't get it. We can't start September with Plan C. It's, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's all. I mean, it's safety is like personal. Obviously, Sean Taylor, one of our favorite players, top 2, top 3 all time. When that position is played at a high level, it absolutely matters. So
we will forever be skewed in our judging of the safety position by 21.
Yeah, because he was here, and freaking Reed Dowdy played the week after he.
Oh, I know.
God damn it! All right, sorry.
I know.
Anyways,
we're moving down from safety.
Jonathan Allen on the defensive line, given permission to seek a trade. Again, these are like the adult things that front offices do. You mentioned it, Kevin, in his press conference talking about it. This is how, I mean, no one in the world is shocked. No one in the world is freaking out. No one in the world is doing more than saying, all right, there's an 8-year veteran on the last year of his contract, and the Washington Commanders they're going to let him test his value. Because as much as you might think the Commanders want to move on from a 30-plus-year-old defensive lineman who just came back from a pectoral tear, there's also, like, Jonathan Allen doesn't want to play on a 1-year contract because he's good enough not to.
Of course.
So there's a lot of stuff going on there, and I don't think that we're looking to lock up.
And they're very curious. They're very curious about his value also.
Yes.
How about let the agent go do the work, figure it out, come back, report back to us, let us know what you got, and we'll do our
coming
best.
back. in the end of the season and for the playoffs is
Yeah.
so huge in this whole
It
deal.
really was. It's gonna net us instead of a 7th, maybe a 5th. I don't know.
I think
That's a big deal.
I think they'll take what they can. I think they'll take the best offer. I think they're going to get it. I think they'll get it. I do believe they'll get a better offer than that because I think that someone will be able to pay him. Put him on a 3-year deal, and at a decent value, and he's a good player.
He may be packaged, and that's what a lot of people expect. That there could be a bigger
Him
trade
and a draft pick,
yes, and
for something or someone.
Something exciting, but not gonna be that exciting. To be fair,
The first question people asked me today was,
Chad, why are you not wearing your shirt right now? That was the first question I had when I got
they
here
were like,
tonight.
"Are your biceps getting creamier?" And I said, "Actually, yes, they are."
I've been keeping him in the closet.
This is a
All right, first
regimen.
question. First question they were asking about this today. John Allen.
Is why would Cleveland want a 30-year-old defensive tackle, taking up $20 million of their salary cap when they're
They
getting
don't.
rid of
They don't. Let me answer it. They don't.
So I can sell it to them, but yeah, they're screwed so hard from a financial standpoint. They're telling anyone who will listen that they're not trading Myles Garrett, and they're certainly not looking to add super high priced 30-plus-year-old football players based on where they're at right now, salary cap wise, which is the definition of salary cap hell. Although they benefit from this extra salary cap space, like anybody.
We all benefit equally, but it gets some people out of jail. I get it. But let me promise you this: John Allen's a local guy. He played his college ball at Alabama. He won relentlessly. He won. Then he got here and he got smashed out. He got kicked in the crotch year in, year out with a dozen plus losses. He ain't going to no Cleveland. If you're giving this just agent that Adam Peters just said is
he's one of the greatest agents.
After he talked about a great career, right? There's just everyone. We are now a common sense organization. Just because numbers match and rosters match and trade swaps on all these various websites and apps, you can throw all that shit out. This is a whole new ball game, and we're gonna treat people like human beings, not like meat, cattle, or a number. Those days are gone. It's over. We're now in the business of people, and any business that has any chance has to be in the people business. This guy's the best representative. Well, I'm sorry, Dan Quinn also. I mean, these two guys, they're so effing likable, honest. I mean,
so with the thing about Jonathan Allen, because you do see, I mean, something we might wake up to the news that we got a 5th round pick for Jonathan Allen, and people are going to freak out about that. I don't think that's going to be the deal, but all I'm saying is Adam Peters believes 2 things. He believes that he can find guys that play football the way he wants them to play football for our coaching system.
Specifically, we need some more beef.
Yeah, and he thinks he can find those guys, and we've been I think our general rule of thumb subconsciously has always been, since we've done this show every year in the draft, is you got to get it started in the 1st round, got to get it started in the 2nd round. God, I hope our 3rd rounder can start, and if our 4th rounder can contribute in the life of the next 2 or 3 years, yay for us.
And we don't have a 4th this year, so
and we don't have a 4th.
We don't have to worry about that.
But honestly,
we might get a 4th. We never know what we're going to get.
I think if you have, if it's not Vinny Serrato and Bruce Allen, I think you can be a little bit more ambitious, be a little bit more greedy about what you want out of the draft. I like not that a 5th rounder is super sexy, but I think Adam Peters, again, think about the
last year were
the last 5 or 6 guys on the roster are going to make a difference in your season, and not counting whatever, but those guys, you can sign them as veterans, like a Jeremy McNichols, 8-year guy, or you can sign him or you can find him in the 5th round. Like, those guys come into the league ready to play. The other thing that Adam Peters sees, which is super valuable to him, is he's not just getting a 5th rounder. He is transforming his salary cap. I mean, he's pulling in 17 million of space in, and he's still able to start 2 first-round picks in the center of our defense. I mean, you have to remember, Johnny Newton and Daron Payne at the center of our defense is still going to be almost as good as any. I mean, that's top 5, top 6 centers of your defensive lines out there. And so you want to do right by Jonathan. I think the thought is do right by Jonathan Allen, because people will be interested. We will get something, And we're going to be able to take $17 million and take it away from the center of our defensive line where we are just fine.
Of course. And listen, we want to be more Vince Wilfork, more Vita Vea, more gap, as opposed to an athlete like Jonathan Allen, who's a, you got to tackle for a loss guy. And I mean, he is a tremendous athlete.
Yes.
But he's like a lean, mean fighting machine. You know what I mean? He is not. I mean, I'm talking about the John Madden type D tackle.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what we're, and then let them clog everything up in the middle and let the speed take over. And eventually, we're gonna have to get some speed at linebacker. Luvu's quick as shit. I know Bobby Wagner gets a ton of shit for coverage because people don't really understand. Like, yes, he's not playing man to man. No one understands coverage better than Bobby Wagner. No one's going to DQ better. No one knows more about where people are going to be, how to cheat code his lack of quickness and speed at this point.
And he's teaching Luvu.
Exactly. And he's teaching everybody. And there's guys coming up behind him. McGee, I mean, come on, man.
So I think they do. I think they believe Jordan McGee will.
You're damn right they do.
Brandon
you and
Coleman,
I do too.
Will Brandon Coleman his way into the starting lineup?
And by the way, so what if if Bobby Wagner has to split some time and blah blah and do this?
Yep.
But that's just part of a natural veteran's, digression.
If we have Luvu, Wagner, and McGee, if McGee's playing and McGee on the field, that's great.
What you and I think,
yeah,
we have been so high on this guy and tried not to just bang it into everybody. The cat's out of the bag. We think that with the tutelage of Bobby Wagner and the physical skills with the coaching, that this is the new deal around here. The coaching, the skill development per position, specific to the scheme. We're great at. You know how many great coaches we have?
Ken
You
Norton.
know how we won those games, 9 games and 9 one-possession games last year? We are freaking great coaches. We have a great coaching staff that did that last year. We have so many guys that are so well respected and trusted. I think 3 different guys that were head coaches in this league are assistants on this staff. It's bonkers. No wonder people want to come here and want to get drafted by here and developed here now. That's the whole new part of it. It's not just a cash grab. You are going to develop yourself, and we're not doing the over 30 thing anymore. So,
linebackers coach Ken Norton Jr. Still
badass
on the staff.
Badass.
58 years old from Jacksonville, Illinois.
You just got to get smarter and more intelligent and more comfortable when you're just around these gentlemen. And I know he was hampered by some injuries last year that hurt his physical ability to translate into this league, but his physical tools are so sick. He is the future, and the future's bright with that.
Yeah. The other side of the Jonathan Allen thing is you give a player permission to seek a trade, and that's a headline you see every year. First of all, the fact that we have a guy that is well regarded enough by the sports world to be the headline on ESPN and CBS this morning, the top story for at least half the day. I mean,
he was
got
a great
moved off.
Redskin.
So when so it was news, so the fact that we have a guy who's good enough to be news, that's a thing. Hey, baby steps. But the other thing about the Jonathan Allen thing, so on the other side of it, when you give a guy like that permission to seek a trade, is there any chance that that you'd be willing? Hey, listen, I'll also just pay you $17 million on a 1-year deal. I actually think that the play here for Adam Peters isn't if we can't get what we want from you from this deal, then we're just going to have you back for a year. I don't think that Adam Peters has any interest in that. I think he wants to get what he can and let Jonathan Allen move on. So
100%. He's not. Hey, listen, I don't know if Deron Payne fits the scheme specifically either, but his contract sure does. So that's the difference between those two. We talked about a little last week. I don't think it's just a perfect. Hey, just like all the other decisions they made, they got to come in here and do what they got to do. They don't have to say, "Hey, we got to deal with this," because no, we're still turning this thing around at certain spots.
That's right. We don't have a long-term plan at many positions on this team.
Oh God, no!
But the long-term plan is Adam Peters.
And the long-term plan is to get accrue more draft picks, more draft picks. Then each year we get 7 this year, so next year we'll have another 20-some free agents, man, like right around 20. That's part of the 3-year window, but then you have one more draft class, and next thing you know, you're starting to look like a normal franchise that doesn't have to go out and cater to the 2 deep.
Oh, this was. I mean, it was.
I love thick physical tools.
They took an axe to the way it was, and we've been. I mean, that I don't think it gets enough because of how it finished, because of the fact that we made it to the NFC Championship game, and that Jaden Daniels is such a story, and clearly
chapter one
of how we got there. But I don't think anyone really truly appreciates the fact that for the better part of 15 to 20 years spent in the parking lot at FedEx Field with fans begging whoever it was at the time, whether it was Vinny Serrato or Bruce Allen or whoever,
to put the cocaine away.
to put the
Vinny,
put
I told you once.
you need to stop it.
Jerk.
To hit the reset button, just to hit it and hit it hard. And every year they would tell us that they could solve it with with $100 million free agent or flashy whatever's and
Captains.
we got captains. So I don't think people appreciate and talk enough about the fact that this was like the most traditional of rebuilds in the history of rebuilds. Like this, like there's not very many teams who like legitimately were like, all right, we're getting rid of more than half of these guys. Like that's crazy.
It's unbelievable.
That's hitting the button. I know they wanted to talk about it not as being recalibration and no one likes to reload. We've been dying for the rebuild. Use the word rebuild. Please use the word rebuild. I don't care that they didn't. This was literally the most traditional. Like Webster's dictionary defines rebuild as fire everyone. Like that. Like they did. I mean,
there's so many people that are like Webster's dictionary.
Webster's.
Is that by Encyclopedia Britannica?
You're more of a Merriam's guy? You're more of a Merriam's guy, aren't
There's
you?
one more. There's one more. There's one more.
King James?
Yes, it was a Bible. Never mind.
Yeah, so, they pushed the easy button. They blew it up. The building came down, and we made it to the NFC Championship game, and everyone's like, okay, because Jaden Daniels. I'm like, actually, yes, Jaden Daniels. 100% Jaden Daniels. But do you realize, like, everyone in the building, like nobody knew where to park on day one. Like they all had different, like no one knew what period, like a second period English or social studies. Nobody knew anything, and they all figured it out. It was crazy.
After coming from LSU, I'm sure Jaden Daniels arrived in Ashburn to the facility and was blown away.
Exactly. He had to wait to get laid.
Like,
his fob didn't work. I mean, he's like, I got a fob.
This place is weird.
Yeah. So, we finally did that. You know what I mean? And I haven't talked about it. I harped on it so much. I haven't talked about it enough. Like we actually did that, and it worked.
I mean,
and it's working.
There was some Elmer's glue. There was
Yes.
There's all kinds of how they did it. We'll look back on this forever.
It's nuts.
It's too easy to say, Jaden. Yeah, he sprinkled the magic, but there were so many different moving parts that had to come together as one for us to get anywhere near what we did. And
Oxford.
I know. I knew it was in there, but sometimes after 10, 12, everything slows down a little bit. Damn it.
We do need to remember. It was. I love. They weren't. Snyder and his crew were always so coy about. Everyone was like, "Yeah, you got to blow it up and start over," and they just wouldn't ever be real about it. And I get that people want to say that Quinn's saying, "Well, we don't like the word rebuild," or you got to do that. He's sitting in front of players, grown men making millions of dollars playing football. I understand, but they did it. Like they did it. They freaking blew it up, and what's left in its place is absolutely crazy what they're building.
Our old version of Adam Peters told us we were winning off the field.
We're winning off the field.
Our new version of general manager is actually taking care of guys who are no longer with us.
Yeah.
Not just whispering behind their backs and creating some type of tabloid fodder or some type of drug scandal that didn't exist or whatever the shit else they drew up in the damn media to ruin all of our days so many times. Yeah. Adam Peters is such a breath of fresh air. Just when he speaks, I feel like an old school fan. The confidence, the passion that we've all had in us that never left. Now we had to move to a weird place.
Don't forget Vinny Serrato's famous one. So Bruce Allen gave us winning off the field. Vinny Serrato gave us, we gave him a playoff roster. I want to say that was Jim Zorn. But question after the season. So those are our guys. Those are the guys that are like, hey, I gave him a playoff roster. And Bruce Allen's like, hey, we're winning off the field. I mean, this.
Then he asked two reporters if he could hold 20 until tomorrow.
Hold 20, just catch me tomorrow, right around here, same place, same time.
I've got plenty more scoops for you if you just enough to get me through the day.
The only other the only other kind of thing that like matters to us is I think the only other thing that matters to us
The Oxford Dictionary
is the Oxford Dictionary.
Right.
And
Everyone votes on new team mom. We haven't brought that up yet, but
oh yeah, where are we at there?
well, how about next week? Everyone shows up with their nominations for this year's team mom. We'll go over them. Just a name. We don't need a background. We'll do the research, but
As opposed,
I mean, it was a great team mom. She set a high bar, but we're thinking of going less traditional.
I can get her right in the picture there. So it looks like she's just
Amazing.
Immortalized forever. Yeah.
It looks like she's in the Rock and Roll
She's
Hall of Fame.
going up on the wall.
Very good.
I think the only thing we have to obviously predict the score for this week. I don't know how to do that. We usually do that at the end of the show. It's a little bit of a. I mean, I missed that.
Why don't you predict one surprise commander who is no longer with us next year that is not Jeremy Chin? Somebody that moves on to bigger and better things. And by surprise that we don't have him next year. Not that, something bad happened.
That I don't like someone like to me, the biggest surprise if he's not here next year would be wait, so not Jeremy Chin.
No Chin.
Oh, wait, so I think I would be very surprised if Marcus Mariota wasn't here next year. And I think I think it's going to be a story. I think it's going to be a story for us, but I think it's going to be one of those like third page sports page stories. Marcus Mariota made himself. He definitely made himself marketable this year. Teams are definitely looking at him. He has two careers to choose from. Like right at this very second, he could sign himself up to a 4-year job of being here. I mean, he's what is he? 29, 30?
Yeah, right about that.
Yeah,
I think he's 31, maybe.
Yeah,
30, 31.
If you signed him to a minimum wage 4-year deal and guaranteed it, and said, "Hey, listen, man, we'd love for you to caddy for Jaden Daniels for the next 4 years. Would you want to do that?" That's one option. The other option is some team like Indianapolis who wants to open their competition up with Richardson or New Orleans or some disaster.
I was going to say, Marcus Mariota is from the most beautiful place in the world. He is not going. And then he went to college in a gorgeous part of our country. He ain't going to
He's not going to Indianapolis to play the RCA Dome.
No, son. He's a guy who loves the sun. I have to believe.
I agree. I'm just
telling you. There ain't no way.
But somebody like that is going to come with the money and say, "Hey, we want to put you in the mix this summer."
Yeah.
We're not guaranteeing anyone the job. If you would go out and win it, it's yours. If that fire is still in his belly, I mean, hey, he's a professional athlete at a super high level. He has the right to have that fire in his belly, and that's the way he wants to go.
There's so much fire in his belly.
Fire that belly.
How about put $6 million in his wallet? We don't have to worry about any fires. We got Jaden Daniels.
So, but that's two distinctly different paths. Like he's not going somewhere else to back anyone else up. There's no
chance.
There's no backup offer that's better than ours, and I don't think there's any starting competition offer that's better than the backup job here.
It might arguably be the two best human beings in any quarterback room in the NFL. If you're going to put the starter and a backup and find two better individuals, and I'm sure there's a bunch of franchises that have one, but is there two better than these two guys? I don't think so. I think they form the dynamic duo of quarterbacking. He gets his 2-0 record every year coming in to help out midseason and figure out week 18. And to be fair, we can win if we get better on the line of scrimmage on defense and offense.
Yep.
A hell of a lot better. We can win with that guy in the next year or two. We can. Our game plan will be totally different. You cannot rely upon Marcus Mariota to do Jaden Daniels things at this point in his career. But we don't have to go out elsewhere or run some different offense. It'll be a different version of what we got, and he's a pro's pro. He's a huge offseason signing. I can't stop talking about him.
Is there someone that would I guess I would be more upset if he wasn't, but is there someone that would be more surprising than that to you?
Man. I love asking questions I don't have the answer to. But
I mean, it would be surprising if Bobby Wagner didn't come back.
So I was going to say Wagner or Ertz, but since we tapped on them early, I think it's understood that like we know that deal. Yeah. I would be shocked if Bobby Wagner wasn't back. I know but like he's such a competitor. He's got so many friends in this league. You know what I mean? There's so many coaches and people he respects that respect him.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just
can-
saw what he just did and understand what his role was
Yeah.
and everything we just did defensively. Without him, no chance. No chance. He brought this defense along so much faster than it would have been by being a player coach and a dude and a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, I think we all agree on that. I'm not teaching anyone about that tonight. So that to me would be devastating and shocking, but I can see him, you know, he's like, all right, you know, this, that, and the other. And maybe he thinks his guy's ready. Maybe he's a good enough dude to say, Mr. McGee, it's all yours, brother.
Yeah.
I'm going to go mentor someone else, and you hold down the fort. And not a lot of people nationally have as much confidence in our backup linebackers as you and I might.
Well, yeah, Jordan McGee, he has done nothing in the league so far. We think that he's the guy, or we think that he is the guy who can compete for that starting job. I think Brandon Coleman is way right into a starting spot or a contributing spot. You know, because Brandon Coleman obviously wasn't. You know, he split time with Cornelius Lucas out of the gate this season. We famously remember.
And let's get Corny back. I'd be shocked. How about that?
Yeah, we got to have
Corny.
Corny
Cornelius Lucas has re-signed with this franchise so many different times and has had such. Obviously, he enjoys whether it be the area or the comfortability of the situation.
Yep.
You don't get a swing tackle you can plug and play and not lose. Listen, obviously he's not going to be a freaking 17-game playoff dude week in, week out at his age, but that's a plug and play, rotational, flip tackle. How many teams? Only the elite teams have a guy like that.
He hasn't regressed a ton.
Like, I'm not saying he's such a badass player, but his skill set.
No, he's
it's
a
very
player.
rare.
You're talking about Bobby Wagner?
No, I'm talking about Corny.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Bobby Wagner. Yeah,
Cornelius. How would I would punch myself in the face before I wouldn't call Bobby Wagner a badass player.
I think Cornelius Lucas impacts our offensive line positively.
I think he's a must sign, and if he goes elsewhere, that's a swing tackle with his ability, his experience, and by the way, his relationship with Brandon Coleman last year when they flip-flopped and they played and then split snaps together before he had to go help out Wiley a bit. If we're going to talk about versatility, that's a guy. So that's my final answer. Wagner's too easy. Everyone knows that. Cornelius Lucas, come on back home.
Come on back home. I want to talk. Well, maybe we'll talk a little more about next week. But I think the thing to look for as we get closer to free agency is the use of guaranteed money by the teams that have the money to spend. So we have a lot of money to spend, and we haven't gotten married to almost anyone. Like, we don't have a lot of long-term guys on our roster at all. Only a handful. And only a couple past 3 years. So how, like, is giving somebody like the use of guaranteed money in the NFL hasn't been fully like fleshed out yet. Like, obviously in the NBA and Major League Baseball, those guys get their money no matter what. Some people are saying it's ruined the NBA. Major League Baseball is such a that the whole money situation is crazy.
Jesus!
I'm sure they're all colluding. It's crazy. Those owners, what they do, and how much money.
The Rendon Strasburg factor, $900 million of contract and about 260 games played over 6 years. But you write the check. Combined.
Those guys have the money,
and they already earned it. But
like the Dodgers, obviously,
billions. They have billions.
They have billions of dollars. So do NFL owners. The league is set up a little bit differently than those leagues, and it's not built for. It's not a guaranteed money league. A lot of people are saying that first of all, we'll never go to a fully guaranteed contract league like those.
You really can't,
and you can't
if you want to be smart about it.
And the NFL is super smart, and that's really how they overtook baseball as America's pastime, and how they've kept the NBA from winning after Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron. Is because of guaranteed contracts. However, guaranteed contracts have made their way to the NFL. No one knows this better than Cleveland fans, unfortunately.
Oh.
So there is. God bless you. God bless you.
Excuse me.
There is an interesting.
I'm allergic to Cleveland fans
and guaranteed contracts.
And hopefully Deshaun Watson.
We will see. Our guy hasn't. Had it. He's not. He's still in the dating phase of his general managership. 1 and 2 year deals. He's not looking. He's not making a ton of long term relationships. But at some point, you think to yourself, the salary cap is just continuing to go up and up and up and up. If you can find the right guy or guys to lock into a market or slightly below market rate to be able to guarantee the money, then all of a sudden those kind of contracts it's like it's like a mid-level rookie contract at some point. Because right now, let's be honest.
There's so many contracts right now.
Deshaun Watson.
I'm filing.
He's making what, $50 million a year?
It's so bad.
But that's not top of the market anymore. The top of the market is 60 plus. So
who's getting 60?
Dak is getting 60 guaranteed. That's where the market. Brock
in
Purdy,
1 year.
That's the average annual value. Brock Purdy is going to get between 55 and 60. I mean, we're talking about that's where quarterbacks getting paid right now.
I understand the quarterback market, but Brock Purdy and Dak should be.
I know.
Have I been drinking?
Yeah, so listen, it's like a guy who like pinkies the masseurs all over the league and also misses seasons at a time like Deshaun Watson. That contract is never going to quote unquote look better as the salary cap goes up. However, if your guy doesn't do that,
I watched him play last year. That salary cap looks like 90 turds fighting each other.
If you guarantee the money to the right guy, I think Kirk Cousins, he works for guaranteed money. If you guarantee the money to the right guy, it's an interesting strategy. I'll be interested to see if Adam Peters pulls that tool out of the toolbox this offseason or ever. Like I said, I don't think guaranteed contracts are gonna dominate the NFL, but I do think it's going to become a thing for certain GMs and a certain class of player.
I know a guy that might get one.
Give it to me.
5 in DC.
Oh, and again, that's how you do it.
Someday, let's just keep him here somehow.
Forever.
Everyone, if anyone's ever rude to him on the streets,
yeah,
we need to form an alliance of people. Remember, like the old Metro in New York? Who were they? The guys that wore the red berets that they defended the public in New York City when it was going.
Black Panthers?
No, they were called something though. They were not. It was they had red berets and they were like
vigilantes.
Yes, they were city vigilantes that protected the people. I know. I'm just saying.
During like the Son of Sam and all that kind of stuff.
Red was the theme. They were red, and I was like almost like a not a raspberry beret, like a red. And I don't know if it was a beret, but there might have been a sash.
Berets and sashes, like these guys were.
They helped. They were citizens of the United States of New York City. They helped out. They volunteered on metros. The Guardian Angels. Thank you.
Guardian Angels from EO. Yeah. There you go.
That's what we need to form.
Dude, those guys came down to DC during the sniper incident, and they pumped people's gases. Remember? So because people were getting shot and killed by snipers while they pumped their gas. So the freaking Guardian Angels came down and they're like, "We'll pump your gas." It's just like you're in New Jersey. Like
I really enjoy people like that.
Yes, that's great.
People that would think that way about other people is why our football team is so good this year. So let's form a Guardian Angels unit to make sure that Jaden Daniels has an ultra positive.
By the way, NES, congratulations, my friend. We have a championship to celebrate. You were on earlier. The Bishop McNamara girls basketball team took it down. Nice little piece of hardware going back to Forestville. All right. So final thoughts on this week that
Final
was.
thoughts. We have, during the season, we have DQ and 5 and a bevy of characters. Our new owner I adore, but in the offseason, we have Adam Peters. And I'm telling you, whenever he speaks, I can't wait to listen to what he's got to say. This is going to be the coolest offseason of our entire adult lives.
Yeah.
And it's going to be narrated by just Mr. Smooth, the assassin, Adam Peters. Those are my final thoughts. When I saw him today live, speaking, choosing his words carefully.
Combine coming up. We can spend
we're going
to
to Thursday. We will next week.
Yeah,
right?
We'll talk about it next week for sure.
Thursday, a lot of lives change, and that's when it starts to get super cool, especially 2 weeks out of free agency.
And listen, we've picked much higher in the draft. Obviously, last season we picked much higher in the draft. But we've had a lot of middling seasons where we've picked in the middle of the first round. The cool thing about the combine is, especially when you talk about offensive, defensive linemen, this year they said, last year they said there was a dozen starting caliber defensive linemen in the draft. This year they're saying it's 2 dozen. That's good for us. That's really good for us.
Offensive linemen as well.
It's a good offense. Well, defensive linemen more so.
No
than
doubt,
offensive linemen.
because I saw about 70 of them or have combine invites
Yeah.
to the 50 O linemen.
Yeah.
And it's weird each year, like 19 running backs, 51 receivers. Like you're like,
Yeah.
oh, well, we'll just not invite that running back, invite that receiver.
Yeah.
50. This is going to be interesting. This is where the physical traits separate a lot of the bottom.
Yep.
It's fun to see the top guys get theirs, but a lot of guys get weeded out right away. And that's clean for us because we can't be following 1,000 dudes.
And but we're still talking about a top 30 guy.
I can't even.
A top 30 guy. We're getting
yeah.
a top 30 guy, and
I think 3 top 88 guys or something.
3
like
top
that.
exactly.
The top 85, maybe something like that.
And that's meaningful when you watch the combine, because I promise you, if you do watch it, and I watch it, I know you watch it.
Ever since Chris Jones, I haven't missed it.
Yeah. There's 85 guys that we would want on our team.
Yeah, I agree with you.
100%.
No, that's the coolest.
There's 85 guys who, if they came in, if three of them came onto our team, they would start for us.
Yeah. And we need 3 of them to come on our team and
start for us. Exactly.
No, but not like last year's desperation.
Yeah.
But guys, we have to realize how close we are to last year. We're 8 players different, I think. Seriously. Whoever we brought in the draft, and I know we hit on a couple guys, but like we didn't have a Ryan Bond, like special teams guy that's now going to get paid a gazillion. Yeah. They got to make a choice there, which we don't have to make. When we made our choice and we did it calmly, casually, is anyone surprised by Jonathan Allen? No. We should all be surprised by the way it went down. With such class, grace.
Yep.
Hey, we were there. Sean Chun from the Deceivers. You play the bullpen outside National Stadium. We draft Jonathan Allen 17th. He starts cranking Sweet Home Alabama live on stage for our show. And so that was always something I'll never forget. And I wish him the best. And he's a local high school product. And peace and farewell, Jonathan Allen. He'll be always known as a great Redskin. He'll never be on, the Wall of Star. It's not that great, but he was a good guy. A good egg, they say.
All right, Greg Martin, I think he had to step away for a second, so we have to go back through the last 36 minutes. All right, let's start with the tush push.
But you just texted me that you had to poop, so what do we do
now? We look forward to being back here next week, and not on the backside of a full weekend of high school sport game calling. We got man. It is. We actually haven't always done a Tuesday show after these championship games. So part of that, we didn't necessarily push it quite as hard after this weekend's tournament as we have in years past. Chalk that up to whatever you want to chalk it up to.
Let me just tell him this, though, real
quick.
No
T the first day. That he's a bad influence on us. He's a bad influence on us.
I will say this. You guys are all sports fans. Remember the name Jordan Smith. Jordan Smith. Yeah. That's all. Jordan is all you need to remember. He wears 23. He's going to be so fan. He just signed with Clutch, Clutch Sports. LeBron James's best friend, but like the dude is a junior in high school, just signed with Clutch Sports. Trust me, what we just saw him do at point blank range, he's going to be really famous. And I think we're friends with him.
I think we are friends.
No, we're not at all. He would never know who we were, but I know this. It was awesome to watch. You guys are the best to hang out with. Next Tuesday, and we got a couple good ones. Bring your Team Mom nominations.
Hold on. So if I do this, I go behind. Oh, so it's I got. Here's what I got to do. I got to.
You mirrored it.
I just got to bring it. I don't know. I guess no. I put it on. I don't know what I did. It's
child vomit alert.
Yeah. No. He's.
What's that for?
He's got little kids.
Got it. Oh, understood.
Hey.
There's no. You never know.
It was something Kevin said, probably, right? It always is.
I thought it was because we were changing team moms. You never know what gets
team mom vote next week. We had some. By the way, do we have?
I know.
Stifler's mom
gave us Stifler's mom, that's a great nomination.
Genevieve O'Reilly, who was nominated by NES Tecmo, going to get right.
So
in the
we
list.
have 2 great nominations.
Yep.
And let's remember, we're not looking for like a distracting team's mom.
No. Someone that we can count on. This is a whole new age.
But distracting enough.
We need someone that can do the job.
Yeah, we're not looking for a backup to Jonathan Allen, is all I'm saying.
No.
Is that fair?
We're looking for a starter, and we're looking for someone who's going to come in and start right away at a high level.
Well, come up with a better one, sir.
Yeah. I mean, and it's perfectly. You know what? Now I feel like we need to put like frames just all the way across their back, and we still can just start populating them with random pictures.
I'm going to go ahead and give my one parameter for Team Mom.
Okay.
Post 40.
Has to be older than 40.
Yeah, there's no real good team moms at a professional
Sydney
level.
Sweeney's.
No. Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll get someday.
Alexandra Daddario's.
Someday. Hate to burst their bubble, but someday.
Hey, listen.
We like our team moms
their time.
with some wisdom.
Yeah, some years.
Exactly.
Oh, Marissa Tomei. That's a good one there.
My other parameter, Selma Hayek is not eligible for team mom.
Okay.
She plays. She doesn't understand American football to quite the level I need. So, guys, we're gonna need football. We're gonna need a football fan here. That's the other parameter.
Fair enough.
Plus 40 football fan. You guys know the rest of the rules.
I mean, let's just say the bar was set pretty high. 81-year-old in a bathing suit on the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition.
We're getting real person or fictional.
Either.
Yeah.
It's a picture on the screen for
plus
us.
40 football fan.
Yeah, real
plus
or
40
fictional.
Football fan.
Does not have to be real at all. In fact, it's not necessarily. It might actually be a feather in their cap if they're not real. Because, I mean, listen. As much as I love putting an 81-year-old in a two-piece up on this over Kevin's shoulder, let's. Make,
I just read NES Tecmo write "Hot Aunt May" when you wrote that, and my brain froze, and now my brain's exhausted.
Yes,
Hot Aunt May is unable to be processed right now. I will get back to you later. What?
That's Marissa Tomei.
I know, but I was thinking of Aunt May, sir.
Yeah. I understood.
What? Am I old enough that I'm the only one that knows Opie? I mean, for God's sake, give me some biscuits here.
I
sir.
did not go to Andy Griffith right away.
I did. And it freaked me out, Ron Howard.
By the way, I mean, was Aunt May older or younger than Martha Stewart in this picture? I don't know.
Aunt May was 36 in that.
She probably was.
No, and Andy was like 41.
Yeah, to me, more is very, very
of
much
course
in the
she's
running.
very okay.
All right, so I'll get pictures of the team moms. This isn't about. Listen, Martha Stewart in a two-piece. Not everyone. We're not looking for that. We're not looking for that. We're not looking for that.
Listen,
we're not looking for
the
that.
2-minute warning has hit. It's the playoffs.
Yeah.
You're looking for, like, do I have one burst of energy left? Is there one sliced orange left in the igloo cooler? And then Team Mom's like, I hid you one. And I foresaw this. That's who we're looking for. Not the cheerleader type that comes out and freaking hands all the sliced oranges to all the people in the stands and has no idea what she's doing.
We don't need a distraction.
No,
we need someone to do their job.
But also, we don't need a distraction on the other side either, right?
No, of course not. I'm just getting the
Aunt B, Aunt May. Oh, it was Aunt B.
It was Aunt B.
Damn it! I always mess up my aunts. Well, thanks for Robert. Thank you, Robert Cohen. I appreciate you, brother.
He's been binging Andy Griffith the last few weeks, and he's been texting me. He's like, "Dude, season 4 is a banger." And I'm like, "Dude, I know it is. I know it is."
When she pulled that shepherd's pie out with never mind.
We very much appreciate you guys hanging out with us on a Tuesday night.
Shepherding us through our Tuesday.
Shepherding us through it all. He's Kevin Ricca.
Sorry about my confusion of ants, but you guys are the best.
We have an ant problem. I'm Ken Meringolo. Thank God it's Tuesday. We'll see you in 7 days.
Oh, T-Mom is going to actually chat my ass for a week too, Greg Martin.
Possibly only this.